You're listening to A View from Space with the Spaceman, exercising the rights to free speech while he still can, on AM 640.
Spaceman AM 640. There's nothing new under the sun. It's simply history repeating itself. Yeah, it's one of the lines used on A View from Space on AM 640 talk radio quite often. A drill by Norwegian police 2 days before the bombing, going through the exact same scenario as happened in the Oslo bombing of the building 2 days later. Now, this exact same scenario accompanied the 9/11 attacks in New York in 2001, with FEMA in town, arriving the night before the attacks, September 10th. As well as in the London 7/7 bombings in the Tube and one bomb in the bus. In this case, a consultancy agency with government and police connections was running an exercise for an unnamed company that revolved around the London Underground being bombed at the exact same times and location as happened in real life on the morning of July 7th. A fact the Illuminati-controlled mass media have dismissed as a coincidence. As I've already stated, the executor of this consultancy agency was actually on air in the BBC explaining all of this the morning of the 7/7 bombings in London. The man who executed Jacques de Molay, the 23rd and last Knights Templar leader, Pope Clement V, was from the area of southwest France called the Gascony. Notice the number connected with the Jacques de Molay, the 23rd and final Knights Templar leader. Anders Breivik was a backward 23, 32 years old. A number that figures very heavily in that 2001 Norwegian attack. Now, Clement V, real name Bertrand de Goth, born in a little area of France called Gascony. I bring this up again because of the connection to a very famous symbol. The flag of Gascony has the rampant lion exactly the same as in the heraldic crest of the Saxe-Coburg-Gotha family, better known as the Windsors, the Royal House of England. The definition of rampant in the dictionary, by the way, is the rearing up upon the hind legs with front legs extended. And it's a lion in a very aggressive fighting posture. It goes without saying that this is a very, very aggressive posture. The dictionary goes on to say, which I believe to be very telling of those who use this as their symbol, it says, rampant, marked by a menacing wildness, extravagance, or absence of restraint, which describes very well the powers that are running our world today. Symbols tell the story, don't they? You talk about wildness, but the wild, crazy antics of the royals. How about the extravagance, the absence of restraint While all the world is going bankrupt, countries going into default, they put on one of the greatest weddings, one of the most expensive tours of the Queen to Ireland, and then the married couple come to Canada and the United States for a 9-day vacation. You talk about extravagance while the world is struggling. You talk about absence of restraint. Gascony is an area of southwest France that was part of the province of Guyenne and Gascony before the French Revolution. Gascony was historically inhabited by Basque-related people. The name Gascony comes from the same root word, as a matter of fact, as the word Basque, which is Vasconia. It's also the land of D'Artagnan, who inspired Alexandre Dumas's character in The Three Musketeers. That story is known for one famous line, which actually repeats the goal of the elite rich for a one-world government, a one-world central bank, and a one-world religion. The line, of course, is, "It's all for one, and one for all." A very famous Jesuit, Francis Xavier, was from this Basque area also. He was born in his family's castle of Xavier. Yes, the Jesuit, Francis Xavier, came from an elite rich family in the kingdom of Navarre in Spain. Xavier's origin comes from the word exaveri, meaning new house in Basque. I mean, in the Basque language. He was a pioneering Roman Catholic missionary and co-founder of the Society of Jesus, was Francis Xavier. He was a student of St. Ignatius of Loyola, and one of the first 7 Jesuits dedicated at Montmartre in 1534. So he was very important. He was actually the lead Catholic missionary that first brought Catholicism into Asia, which was mainly in the Portuguese Empire of the time. That's why Portuguese, by the way, is still spoken in Macau today. He was influential in the spreading and upkeep of Catholicism in India, but also traveled into Japan, Borneo, and the Moluccas, and other areas which hadn't yet been visited by Christian missionaries. He died in Shangchuan Island in China. The reason the Portuguese Empire got so large is because the Portuguese were very brave people. They were the map makers of the world, really. The Portuguese would risk their lives going way, way, way past the sight of land. Because in those days, sailors always kept sight of land so that they always knew where they were. They had no idea on how to navigate by the stars. But the Portuguese, they risked it. They made maps and mapped most of the world as they knew it at the time, only to be stolen by the Spanish off of the Portuguese. A little anecdote in history that not very many people are aware of. In 1825, the French abbot Darcy de Bidassuet wrote in his history of the Cantabrians that Basque was the original language spoken by God himself. At about the same period, the Basque priest Eroa stated that Basque was the language spoken in the Garden of Eden. His peers thought he was a lunatic, but Eroa was so deeply convinced of being right in his hypothesis that he caught the attention of the Bishop of Pamplona, located in the Basque region. He conversely directed his appeals to the chapter of the Cathedral of Pamplona. This powerful ecclesiastical institution considered Aroa's theories, and after many months of deliberations, established that Aroa was right and publicly supported his theory that the Basque language was the language of God, and Basque was spoken in the Garden of Eden. But in a short time, all the reports in the registry containing this ecclesiastical information disappeared mysteriously. Just simply vanished like that. Imagine that. Pamplona, by the way, is the actual seat for all bullfighting in the Latin world. Spain. Pamplona is one of the places where they still kill the bull. Raise bulls to fight in Pamplona. It's the bullfighting capital of the world. In ancient times, the Basques were known to the Greeks, who called them Huascanos, the people of the he-goat. Remember I told you about the goat at the very beginning of the show, when I was talking about Anders Breivik? Well, there it is. The people of the he-goat. This was given to the Basque region people because of their habit of sacrificing goats to their gods. Traces of the lost world of Atlantis can be found in the prehistory of the Basque people too. When ordered chronologically, these traces could offer an idea of some of the most relevant traits of the Basque original religious beliefs. A lot, though, can be reconstructed, analyzing the ethnographic data, the rites and the local folklore of the Basque people. They are indeed the ancient descendants of the lost world of Atlantis. And these people believe that they are half man, half gods. That's why they do what they do. That's why they are extravagant, unrestrained, wild. They can do what they want. They make the rules of the game. Space, back with more in a moment. It's View from Space on AM 640. This is Talk Radio.